Welcome back to another lesson today. If you're in the entertainment industry, you've probably heard it 1,000 times. You have to get to events to network, network, and network. But how do you find these events to actually network, network, and network? Well, in today's lessons, we're going to go over not only how to find these events, but what you should do at the event and after the event. As always, I'm Thomas J. Beleza, so please like, comment, and share this video along with subscribing for future content on how to be successful in your career, specifically the entertainment industry. If you have questions, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them, either live or after the broadcast. All right, so let's figure out what we're going to start on. First, we're going to focus on what you should do when you get to an event and what you should do after the event, followed by how to even find the event. And we're going to conclude today's lesson with how to get involved with the events once you figure out what you want to do. We're also going to focus on 3 areas: actors, performers, people in the film industry, musicians, producers in the music industry, and of course, writers and authors. So for those that are interested in finding events for those particular groups, today is the video for you. Let's get started. The rules when there and after. There are basically 5 rules. However, these are not the only rules, and these are some rules that get you working well at an event. Like basically, what do you get out of the event? Take advantage of it, okay? The first rule is go for others, not you. If you go to an event for you, you're not going there to network now, because remember, networking is about building and cultivating relationships. The cultivating part is about being interested in others. That's how people become interested in you. They like you because you're interested in them. So when you go to these events, go for other people, not you. Your prime objective is to be there and be attentive and present for others. Listen to people, get their information, things like that. It's not about you going, hi, I'm a musician, or I'm an actor, I'm a producer, I'm a writer, I'm an author, whatever. That's not your job. Your job is not to let them know what you do. Your job is to be so interested in them, and not in a creepy way, but interested in them to the point where they actually ask you what you do. And at that point, you can answer them. But we all know the secret to the art of conversation, tech, is to actually throw it back to them and allow them to feel like they are being heard. Because the more somebody feels heard, the more they seem interested in you. So AFM moment. The reason I have that up there is because one time when I was at AFM, there as a producer, I was talking to another fellow producer, okay? Very nice guy. And while we were talking, an actress walked up and she goes, hey, is it all right if I give you my thumb drive? And we both, the other producer and I looked at each other and we're like, well, why do you want to give us your thumb drive? And she's like, because I'm an actress and I want you to have me on file. So if you're ever producing anything, I heard you talking, your producers, I want my name on file. And I said, hey, let me give you some advice. We don't know who you are, so we have no connection to you. And you're going to just and we're going to just base it on this 2-second meeting, your looks, and whatever your resume says, which is not real proof, right? And I go, what you should be doing is just trying to be making friends with people, not going, hey, this is me, I'll see you later. More importantly, you haven't even asked for our business cards yet. You were just going to give us your thumb drive. And I went on for a little bit, not too long, maybe like 2 minutes. And the other producer was like, yeah, no, this is great advice. You should listen to him. And she goes, oh, thanks. But can I leave my thumb drive with you? So she leaves her thumb drive. And I swear that as soon as she left, not just me, but the other producer and another person who was nearby turned around and they were laughing. Because they were like, not only did she not listen and hear advice from producers, she only cared about giving me and the other producer a thumb drive so she can be remembered. Think about that. How can we remember somebody that we don't feel connected to, right? So in that situation, she walked away, and ultimately, the other producer was like, I don't even want the thumb drive. And I was like, I'll take the thumb drive, just out of politeness. But honestly, I think I looked at it once, and that's it. So be at the event for others, not you. That's how you build and cultivate relationships. The building part is getting to know people and letting them become a part of your circle. The cultivating is actually establishing some value in the relationship. Number 2, get their contact information. That's literally your job. Again, you can give them your information, but it's not their job to follow up with you. It's your job to follow up with them. But it's even more your job to listen to them, hear them, and then take notes afterwards, especially after you walk away and go, what did we talk about? Because I'm going to utilize that in the follow up. So make sure you get their contact information. At minimum, if they don't have anything on them, you say, may I add you on Facebook or follow you on social media, and I'll get in touch with you that way. But usually, if you're at these events and they like you because you're listening to them and you're there for them, they're going to give you a business card. Because remember, you're there for them, so you can build and cultivate. The building is taking the information so you can follow up. The cultivating is because of that follow up and then maintaining relationships. So 3, as I said, follow up with them. You have 1 to 3 days after the event. Basically, if somebody meets me and I end up giving them my business card, or I say, hey, just add me on Facebook. Just use my name, Thomas J. Belez, right? Or why don't you take my email? Or take out your phone, I'll give you my email, right? Your job is starting the next day. You have 1 to 3 days to do a solid follow-up. The follow-up is very important. The reason we don't do it the same day is because they might still be busy. You're fresh in their mind still. There's no reason to do the follow-up. The next day to the 3rd day from that moment is a solid area where you're still in their head, but you also give them that boom, that little boost, that little jolt of remembrance where they go, oh, yeah, that's right, I meant. And if you add a little bit of value of what was in the conversation, include that in your follow-up, you will basically get a boost in that relationship building for a start. But more importantly, in the follow-up, you don't ask for anything. Unless, of course, if I'm a producer and I say, email me on this day, send me your information, or email me on this day, let's talk about working together. Then you bring that up because that's part of the conversation. But if there's no movement in the conversation for action, in the follow-up, just bring up what you guys talked about, a joke, whatever it was, maybe a moment that you had, and just bring that up and just be polite and be thankful that you got to talk, whatever. That's a good follow-up. Number 4, stay in contact, interact, rotation, communication. My Italian accent from Long Island just came out. Yes, I'm a New Yorker. I'm from Brooklyn, Long Island. I know it's there. Anyway, it happens. My father's from Queens. My mother's from Brooklyn. It happens, right? So stay in contact. That's the craziest part. Think about this for a second. Just give yourself a moment. Answer this question, okay? If you collect business cards, how many business cards are in a pile on your desk or in a box or in a drawer that you regularly go through, that you regularly keep in contact with? If the answer is 0 to none, okay, you're doing it wrong. Your job is literally to stay in contact. You had the opportunity to meet them. You had the opportunity to do the follow-up. Now it's your job to stay in contact with them. Create that rotation communication. There's a couple ways you could do it. If you understand the rules to rotation communication, which is something that we teach here on this channel, right? Your job is basically every 2 weeks, be in their presence. So send them an email. If you have their phone number, send them a really nice text. And remember, you're not asking for anything in these situations, okay? You're just keeping them in rotation. However, the interaction is interact on their social media, share their stuff, follow, like, comment on their stuff, be interested in them, which is more networking, right? All right. 5, cultivate relationships. Help them, refer them, or to them. Now, what that means is this stay in contact is ultimately like, hey, I hope all is well. Hey, I see you had an anniversary. Or, hey, congratulations on your project. That's the stay in contact. The cultivating relationships helps when you do these boosts. A boost is when you refer them to someone of value, equal or greater, or you refer someone to them of equal or greater value. And that will help you build connections. And remember, that referral can't influence you. You can't get anything out of it. By introducing them to somebody and you get nothing out of it, that shows you're a team player. That shows your value set. That shows you have influence. And therefore, they will want to work with you more. And that's part of the process. Let me get a little sip, and then we're going to move into how to find events. That's some good water. You ever notice that when people speaking, giving lessons, they usually have to reference the word, hey, I'm drinking the water. Oh. Dead air is dead air. Okay, so there we go. Rules when there and after. So basically, when you're there, it's about them. It's about getting their information. When you're gone, it's about following up, maintaining the rotation communication, and also whenever you can, do those referral introductions. Okay, so let's start with actors, performers, filmmakers, basically crew, cast, producers, anybody in the film and television industry. To find good, solid networking events, or more importantly, events, you have to think about a few things. What are the gathering of these communities? How do these communities gather? Well, there's many things. So what I'm going to go over a list of ideas and concepts for you to do your research, but I'm also going to give you some examples of places you could go. All right. So for actors, performers, filmmakers, cast, crew, producers, anybody in the television and film industry, you want to deal with conferences and marketplaces. All right. Conferences are basically gatherings of people to talk business, right? And also maybe they'll talk about the industry, what's going on in the industry, stuff like that. The marketplaces are really where people are selling. So AFM, remember I told the story earlier, AFM? AFM is the American film market. And what they do there is it's literally a huge hotel that's rented, and everyone is there to sell their films. All the studios, and some producers are there with their doors open saying, hey, we pre-set up a meeting. You came to this event. We're going to listen to you. Give it to us. Pitch your stuff. But if you go to this event without a project, that's also okay, because who's there? Filmmakers, writers, producers, directors, other actors, you have to understand, it's a gathering of people in that business. So if you're there, it gives you a chance to actually interact and network with people who are there with the mindset of let's interact and network with people. I've met some amazing people that I'm still friends with because of AFM, that are composers, that are press, that are producers, that are filmmakers, that have really added value to the industry in general as good people. Get involved with those events. So some of the things are like Actors Pro Expo and AFM. Actors Pro Expo is considered a conference. And the reason it's like a conference is because you're going there to meet other people in the industry and go to like they have tables set up and like you meet some businesses and industry people. But the other thing is like there's like seminars. So it's a conference for people in the entertainment industry. So Actors Pro Expo is a great mental starting place, right? And then AFM is, like I said, it's an American film market. It's where people are going to sell. But there are other industry events like that. So think outside the box and find solutions by saying, what other gathering marketplaces and conferences for people in the entertainment industry exist? Another example for people in the entertainment industry for film and television is union events. Believe it or not, SAG-AFTRA, WGA, PGA, not the golf, and DGA, these are unions, okay? And the unions, they do conferences, they do special events, they do speaking engagements, they do, you could get together and, you know, meet agents, and you could get together and you could practice your artwork and your craft. And you could get together and people tell you how to market yourself and how to network, right? But the thing is, I'll get into that, all right? So think about the unions that you're interested in being a part of, because you should want to be a part of a union that protects you. But more importantly, why are you a part of a union? Because of all the gatherings that the union itself creates. Be around the industry of your interest, okay? Festivals or film-related events. Believe it or not, right now, and I can't even list them all, there's 47 plus film festivals and film-related events. Just two off the top is Sundance and Tribeca. Okay, Tribeca is in the city. Okay, even if you don't have a film, even if you're not working on anything, go to these events because you're gathering with other like-minded people. It's very important to be around those within your industry. Speaking, private events, classes, background, PA. Now, this is the thing. Speaking events is ultimately like, let's say I did a free speaking event. You go to the speaking event, you're going to be in a room of 50 plus people. up to 300 or 400 people, et cetera, and you're around other people in the industry listening to me talk, but that's not why you're there. That's only a small part. You're there to get the information, use it or don't use it, but why you're really there is because now you're surrounded by other people who are as hungry, if not more, than you are to be successful. Private events is ultimately like some of my buddies who work as PAs, after they get off a set, people go, hey, let's go get food or let's go to a bar, let's go, whatever it is. If you ever get invited to go do something in the industry with anybody in the industry, say yes, no matter what time it is, especially in the beginning of your career, because you're just trying to build relationships, trying to establish and cultivate these relationships, okay? The classes, if you go to an acting class or a writing class or whatever kind of class, you're around other people that are learning the same craft. You literally could be sitting next to the next Robert De Niro. Actors say it all the time. Like when I deal with clients that are actors and stuff, they usually say, "Man, I just want to work with so and so, like a high level person, like Al Pacino or Robert De Niro." And it's like, but you are literally working with people that are the next Robert De Niro's. I mean, if you watch the Bradley Cooper thing, where Bradley Cooper is asking Louis C.K. questions and asking Robert De Niro questions as a student, and then what do you see? You see him working with both of them. Both of them. All right. And background and PA work. So the background work is if you're working in the background industry, you're not there working to make a paycheck. You're working there to do what? Well, you're around crew, cast, and other people. Network. And the same thing with being a PA. If you're on the cast, if you're on the crew, all right, like I said, they'll be like, hey, we're done for the day. We're a crew. Let's go eat together. Let's go do this together. Let's go do that. Hey, we're going to do the rap party. Come to the rap party. Go to the rap party. Okay. Now, the thing that's in common with all this and everything else that I'm going to say, okay, is anytime you're here to network. If you're at a marketplace or a union event or a film festival, or you're taking a class and you're sitting next to people, right? Even at a seminar, you're in a sea of people. If you leave that event without getting at least 10 numbers or 10 emails or 10 business cards or 10 anything, why did you go? If you just went there for you to say, hey, check me out, here's my business card, or I'm a this, I'm a that, or I just wanted the knowledge, you're not doing it right. You're not in the business to succeed. You're in the business for you. And if you're in the business for you, you can't succeed. Why? Because success has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the people you surround yourself with and the people that are involved around the community that you're interested in. You have to think of others so you can grow relationships with people, okay? So that's people in the film and television. So let's move on to musicians, producers, people in the music industry, okay? Now, just like the film and television, right, there's local and national tours, which is basically an event. ASCAP meetings. ASCAP is basically the union. Events, awards, conferences, right? You could roadie. You could roadie for bands. You could do sound for bands. You could be a tech for bands. You could do you could work at music stores. If you hear what I'm saying is, or seminars, right, to learn and getting to know people, right? All these things are going to get you around other people. So when I hear, oh, what kind of events can I go to? What kind of music events, right? But the thing is, like, if you're at a local national tour, you're around other people who like music. If you start making friends with local clubs, when there is a tour of national level, or a good package, you can actually get backstage. I did it all the time when I was growing up in the music industry because I became friends with people that ran the clubs. And they'd be like, yo, what's up? And I'm like, yo. And then they would let me in and I get to befriend other successful musicians, which eventually helped my band at the time. Okay. And I was a young, wee little lad. All right. So the idea is that when you get to these events, you're not going there for you again. Remember, you got to get involved with these people. But events don't have to be like massive events like, oh, let's go to NASCAP or whatever, whatever. But you're going to anywhere where there's gatherings. Allow your brain to think outside the box and feel out opportunities of gatherings. Any place there is a gathering of people in your industry. All right. Moving on to writers and authors. Same thing. Okay. DFW Writer Conference. It's a conference. You go there, there's other writers there, but you're not going there to go read my book. You're not going there to go, I am an author. You're going there to meet other people and get their information so you could do your follow-ups, stay in contact, and cultivate relationships. Okay. WorldCon, that's another one. That's another that's like basically it's like Comic-Con slash a marketplace kind of thing. You could read and review other authors. Why? Because it's about other people. Your success is about being interested in other people because then they will become interested in you. Another thing is writing groups or classes. And again, the writing groups and classes allow you to be around other people within your industry that you can start building and cultivating relationships with. Literary fairs, basically the same thing as getting involved in like conferences and stuff, marketplaces. You could beta read or edit books for other authors. There's always authors going, I need beta readers for my first 6 chapters or whatever. You say, yes. Not only should I be reading because I'm an author and I should be reading other people's works, I should be celebrating other authors. Because if other authors love you and other writers and they have opportunities, of course they're going to say, hey, my buddy so-and-so. And of course, publishing houses. Now, the other thing, real quick, with music, you can get involved with record labels. You can get involved with promotion companies. You can get involved with recording studios. You can get involved with businesses. The same thing with actors, people in the film industry. You can get involved with like casting agents. You can get involved with promotion companies, publicists. You can get involved with studios. I have friends that work at studios all the time, right? Production companies. Same thing with authors. You can get involved with publishers, okay? But sometimes you got to get involved by doing the last thing we're going to talk about, which is how to get involved with all these opportunities. But before we go any further, remember, these 5 things affect these things. And the reason you're even doing these things is so you can do these 5 things. Build the relationships by collecting numbers and names and emails. And then cultivating those relationships by following up, staying in contact with the rotation communication, and cultivating relationships. All right. Before we get to the last section of this video, we're doing pretty good. Again, I'm Thomas J. Beleza. Please like, comment, and share this video along with subscribing for future content on how to be successful in the entertainment industry, specifically with your career. All right. So how to get involved with these events? First is Volunteer X. What does that mean? It means volunteer with the unions, volunteer with tours, volunteer to be a roadie, volunteer to beta read, volunteer to get in, how do I volunteer for a writing group? Oh, classes here? How do I volunteer to help out the teacher? How do I volunteer to do free marketing for the teacher or just be there as an assistant, right? Think about how can you volunteer. You can volunteer at record labels. You can volunteer at recording studios. You may not get paid. You may get paid, but that's not the point. Your job is literally to get involved with the industry you're interested in, okay? Work at X. So this is how you make money, right? Some people go, oh, I got to work at the grocery store. I got to work as a waiter. I got to work. No, get a crappy job within your industry. If you're willing to work a crappy job at an industry you're not in, if you're like, I'm going to work at a supermarket, I hate my job at the supermarket, but it pays. Go get a crappy job working in the industry of your interest. Because I have literally seen people start their career as someone who packs out food at a grocery store, and then they ended up becoming managers of the seafood department. And they hate it. And it took them 10 years. And I used to say it would have taken you 10 years to be successful in any field of your interest, which means if you start now, it'll take you 10 years to be successful. You just have to put yourself into that environment, because at the bottom, where no one cares about you, you build those and cultivate those relationships, and people start caring about you. Because every opportunity that particular employee got that I know that was a client literally was referred to higher and better positions from one store to another kind of store to another brand, you know. Get involved. All right. Run events or host events. So if you're having trouble getting involved with any of these events, think about how to run an event or host your own event. How do you start? Start small. Start very small. I've seen people start fairs that were literally like they got a permit to be at a park, cost them like $50 or $100, and then they charge people like, I think it was like $50 or something to have a table, and they would have a table, and there was like maybe 10 tables, so that's $500. But you're not trying to do it to make money at this point. You're doing it to start an idea, to start a concept, and get people involved. But now you get involved with that industry, and it was like a book fair. And then I've seen people do like pagan festivals. And what do they sell at the pagan festival? Well, it's just people that are interested in those different worlds, like cooking and stuff like that. You can get involved if you create your own events, and you can start small. It doesn't have to be met. You don't have to do an Ozfest, but you could do a weekend event. You could be like, I do these every 3 months. It's a big event, whatever, right? Be a leader in X. Basically, if you're a leader in X, it'll allow you an opportunity to speak at these events. So if you're a leader is like an expert, somebody that people look to. So if you're an expert at like writing, and people know you're an expert because you've proven yourself through, like, say, social media, through TikTok, through YouTube, things like that. Maybe you've released a book on how to write, whatever the case may be. Maybe you've even released a book and it was successful. You've proven your expertise, and therefore you could probably read at one of these events. The way I got to speak at the Actors Pro Expo is ultimately I went to one. I became friends with the people who run it. My expertise was proven because my existence is on social media. I said, hey, can I speak at one of the events? They said, absolutely. My event sold out instantly. Like, it was one of the fastest sellouts that they have ever had. It was a packed room. People were standing outside. They wanted to get in. No one would leave the room after I finished my speaking engagement. They formed a line. I said, hey, let's talk outside. Everybody just needed to talk to me after the speaking engagement. They saw that. Next year, they said, hey, do you want to do it again? And then the third year, and so forth and so forth, because my expertise was being proven, okay? Rent space at X. Believe it or not, the American film market, if you have the cash, you can rent the space and literally have you there, right? Same thing with Comic-Con. You could rent the space and be there. You can rent the space at union events or festivals. Like I said, I have friends that ran fairs. You could rent space at fairs. You could literally rent the space at the Renaissance Fair. You know what I'm saying? So any of these things, any event that you find, any festival, any conference, any market, if you have the money, you can rent the space, okay? You could even just buy tickets. Buy tickets to just get there. Just go. You don't need to be selling anything, and you don't even need to be doing anything at the time. You could just exist. Buy a ticket, go to these events, spend a little money, invest in your potential and your possibility. You want to plan in advance. Why? So you can plan in advance. Why? To do prep work. Okay. So let's say I find an ASCAP event, but it's like next week. If I can go, I'm going to go. But that's the worst case scenario in a horrible situation. What you want to do is you go, when is the next ASCAP event? Oh, it's 3 months, 6 months, a year away, right? Maybe I just missed the event. Let me mark it down. Let me keep an eye on that to see when it's happening. Why? Because who's going to be there? Who runs it? Who do I know that's involved in it? Why? So you can volunteer or work at, or try to convince them that you're a leader of something and be able to speak at the event. Maybe rent some space at the event. Whatever the case may is, you're planning, but you're also planning too. You're planning not only what you're going to do to get there, but you're planning what you're going to do when you get there, okay? And you could also do prep work, which means you could start interacting with the people involved, right? Because you don't interact 3 weeks before, go, hey, you're doing this thing, can I get involved? No, you maintain relationships with them. That's how you cultivate. You have to rotation communication, right? Last two, work with a four. So basically, if, like, let's say there are like market conferences for like musicians, right? And let's say like Ibanez is there, right? And you're like, you know what? Let's see if they're hiring, because sometimes they hire people to work at the booths, right? Same thing with Comic-Con. There's a comic book company, a store, not like a publisher, not like a DC or anything, but they have a store. They have a comic store. And my buddy, who is a musician, who actually works in the lumberyard, every year works their booth. They hire him because he goes to that comic store all the time. He became friends with them, and they're like, "You want to work the booth?" And he said, "Yeah." And what does he get for that? He gets to be able to go to Comic-Con for free. He gets one of the days for free to run around Comic-Con. which in turn he gets to network with everybody that's there, right? Help others at events. One thing that I had, so I have a client. She's also like a dear friend. I've known her since she was 14 years old. We were children in school. Uh, anyway, she had Comic-Con coming up at the time. She was like, "Hey, do you want to work my booth with me?" And I said, "Sure." And I went and I helped her out at the event. I dressed up and I greeted people and I got their attention to come over to the booth. And then she did a lot of cool things. She sold her book. She gave her book away. She signed her book. She did a lot of wonderful things. People could take photos with us, things like that. So it was very good. And that's basically what you can do. So a quick overrun and then we'll end because 30 minutes we did, right? 10 to 20, 30 minutes. Okay, rules when, there, and after. You're going for others, not you. Get their contact information. It's about them. Okay? Follow up with them 1 to 3 days directly after the event. So starting, if I meet someone today, tomorrow starts my first day. I usually respond within 2 days. So stay in contact and interact with their social media, rotation communication every 2 weeks. Unless, of course, you're talking to them more often, then you don't have to have them on rotation because you've already established a relationship where you have constant communication. And you want to cultivate relationships by helping them out as much as you can and also referring people to them and them to others of equal or greater value. Remember, as people in the television and musicians and authors, think about how and where people gather and why they gather. Whatever it is for the gathering, get involved with that by doing these things. Volunteer how you can there, work at the place, run an event or host an event that's like-minded, be a leader in your field in X so you can speak at these events, rent a space at the event, buy tickets, plan in advance always, so you can plan in advance always to do your prep work. Work with or for a company that is at one of these events or the event itself, because even Actors Pro Expo, what do they do? They're actually an England, London-based company, and they do New York and LA as well. So when they come to New York, they hire local talent. They hire people to get involved with the Actors Pro Expo, and then help others at the events. So how can you help people, your friends or people you know, teachers, studios, anything, anybody that's doing anything at these events? How can I get involved and help? So that's it for today's lesson. Again, I'm Thomas J. Beleza. Please like, comment, and share this video to spread the knowledge, because the only way we can grow together is if we work, grow, and rise together by sharing and elevating one another with knowledge and wisdom to do better and to create opportunities for their careers. Please subscribe for those interested in becoming successful in your career, specifically the entertainment industry. All right. Have a great day. See you next time.